Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Classic Quest podcast.
Woot woot.
What?
And before we talk about all that, my name's HSR.
My name's Chris Chrome.
And I shall be your lady friend, Bonnie.
Like every other weekend.
Yes. And before we talk about anything in particular, if you want, you can check in the description and you'll see the itinerary of the episode. And before we talk about the episode, there is the Grind to 1,000 Subscribers contest that we have running. What's going to happen is you have the chance at winning $100 at Amazon gift money, plus you can request a review.
We're making it rain.
Then $50 and then $25 will be given out when we do hit 1,000 subscribers, so a couple days after that.
It's for you.
The 50 and 25 also get to request reviews as well.
Yeah.
And all of the information is actually in the description at the bottom, maybe subject to change a little bit. But basically, all you need to do is subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment that's related to either the album or the content of the review, or, you know, something to show that you watched it or are engaging.
Yeah.
I mean, you can feel free to be negative. It's just got to show that you paid attention while you're being negative. That's all I'm trying to say. Anyway, so for every video that you like and comment on, you get an additional opportunity to win that Amazon money, and then all that good stuff will come. And we're in Canada. If you're in the States, it'll be in USD. Well, for every comment and like, more opportunities. So, you know, and if you've already liked and commented and you're already subscribed, congratulations. You've been retroactively entered into this goodness. So, woo to all the people who were already part of the squad. And welcome to all the new folks. So, on that note, we're going to talk about a specific album for the 40th episode.
A new one. We got a lady friend.
So, would you introduce it, Bonnie?
Yep.
Sure. We have this week, we're doing a new artist, or relatively new. We're doing Rapsody's Laila's Wisdom.
And it's because it got a Grammy nomination.
And it came out.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it came out September 22nd this
And
year.
like, well, to be fair, if you're one of the 5 rap albums that get picked, and you're standing next to 444 and Damn and whatever else got nominated this year.
Culture.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I suppose. And you could be sitting there, like, debatably saying that Rapsody has a classic potential that's in the works here.
Because that's what my confusion was. That was my confusion. I was like...
I mean, she has had an album before this
one.
But I guess we just wanted to see what this one was about, since like, it's not.
Initially, I figured because this one came out, we were going to like review an older one and then to touch upon this on Headspace. But this
one got a Grammy nomination. Now,
I guess you missed out on Headspace.
So it's back in September or whenever this dropped, we were doing something else that week, evidently.
Yeah.
Now, to me, it doesn't make a difference. We needed a lady album. This album got nominated for a Grammy. The stars seemed to align in my life, and the thinking process was as simple as that. Plus, it got at least 1 or 2 requests over the last couple of months, and we do like to accommodate y'all requests. You can tell us what you want, and then at some point between now and 2020, we'll get to it for the most part. Yeah, that's our dream is to keep this running for years.
Yep,
definitely.
And that's why we had that contest, the aforementioned one. On that note, I have never heard of Rapsody before.
No.
I have.
Really?
I've heard her name. Like, I've actually heard her name. I knew it was a girl. I may have seen her once, like, in just, like, passing in a video or maybe an interview.
Okay.
But I've never actually heard her music. But I did know she wasn't a rapper. I knew she was an actual artist.
Now, like, I've heard of To Pimp a Butterfly, so I'm aware she's on the album in, like, hindsight. But when I put that album on and wasn't paying attention to the featured artist at the time, I did not register the name. So for me, we're going to say first exposure to this lady's project.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot more than that except to say that reading her like wiki page and looking briefly into her.
Well, I mean, her wiki page isn't that
pretty freaking connected to some top tier names of like respect behind her and stuff. Like she's signed to Jay-Z's label at the moment and has had 7-8 years worth of shit drop from some group she was in the late 2000s.
I think she's a little bit older, isn't she? I can't remember how old she is, but. I thought that I read somewhere that she was like 34 or something. I may be wrong. I may have mixed her up with someone else. I'll double check that, but...
We can safely say that between her group efforts and her solo effort, she's been at this for like a decade, so she's definitely not like 19, you know?
Okay.
and it
Makes
reflects in the wisdom that gets shown on this album. I don't know. Do you guys have more to add here?
Not much.
Let's get into it.
I wanted to start talking off about the album cover and the name of the album first. The album cover, I'm assuming it's her daughter.
Well, I pictured it like her as a kid. I really didn't like look into what it was.
That's what I assumed, or like maybe like.
Yeah, maybe we should have Googled that beforehand. Oh well. I like the cover. I find it kind of interesting. It's got that wreath, black background, little girl.
The wreath stands out to me with the yellow goldish in the middle. Usually a wreath is usually just green with red, but there's more color to this one, and it stands out. So I was just like, that's very cool. And on the black background as well, with the smokiness behind it, is pretty cool.
And then, like, the title is profound. I mean, her grandmother, I believe, is Laila, and so it's dedicated to her wisdom that was given to her and
Passed down.
Yeah, and she passed away, I think, recently. So I think that's why, she was so close to her.
And I like that. I really appreciate the love that's given in that. And it really also gives you an idea of where this Rapsody lady's at. I mean, to choose the word wisdom in your album title, that's a powerful move in my opinion. It says a lot about the intent of what she's
Maybe
trying
she's
to
like
do with
passing
this
on the
album.
information
That's
that was
it.
her grandmother's.
That's kind of like, that's what I was going for.
It's and this is a very bad comparison.
Of course it is.
But for me, like I'm thinking of the God box in terms of just the name of it.
Okay.
Like the box itself,
You're right.
like it's
Okay.
passing on a
Yeah.
message of a truth or whatever, and this is like the wisdom that's being passed down.
Okay,
Yes.
that's fair.
Anyway, so let's jump into this track by track business, and we'll start with the title track, Laila's Wisdom.
All right.
Believe me, I done seen it all. You young talking to old you. When haters come around, look them down, tell them we don't.
That was dope.
Well, it sounds very much like an old school, like 1950s, 60s.
I got a
Like-
church feel.
Yeah, like a gospel-y
feel.
kind of like song at the beginning. I think it's some Aretha Franklin song, or like just something taken from some Aretha Franklin song. So I thought that was interesting. Like maybe that's what that is.
I liked how it starts off, like we were saying, the gospel and that very church sounding feel, piano, more like organ, I want to say, and then it's a smooth transition, but the way it comes in, it also sounds a little bit rough as well because the beat just comes in right away. But the way that the sound fuses with the chimes as the beat comes in is pretty cool. That really caught me within the first 20 seconds of the song. I was like, that's a nice enter into a track. And then she comes in right away, like 5 seconds after the beat drops, and she's starting off with these crazy, I didn't write down any lyrics, but she's got these crazy punchlines at the end of her verses, which really caught my eye as well.
Cool.
Sure. I find it to be a very fascinating song because in a lot of senses it's the introduction to her album, and she takes the opportunity to kind of give us a sense of like her ethics and her inspiration, but
And like
mixed,
where she came from,
Yeah.
kind of.
and like mixed with her faith in herself and what she's able to like actually able to accomplish. My first thought was, this is the most classic hip hop sound I think I've heard in 2017. Like,
With a
Yeah,
modern
that's true.
sound to it,
like even
too.
if we consider Talib Kweli, who might have been a guy who would have been a contender for that sound, he had so many like modern-ish sounds. But my first thought was,
It's very 90s.
this is the girl I've been looking for.
But even
That like
even
hip hop
like,
artists that just coming in proper and true to the form and everything. Like there's no, I got thises and that's. It's not like Lil Mar or one of these things. It just sounds like this is a woman who believes in things and is spitting what she believes in.
and that vibe is also still old school. Like even just to add on with the Talib Kweli, he throughout the album he had different.
That's what I was saying.
Like he had different,
some, like,
the flows too were
like the-
different. This one she kept it so old school as well.
well, I mean, throughout the album, she has a few flows and whatnot, but it was more the sense of just you could see that with the way she rhymes, is this expressiveness. It isn't necessarily about being the trickiest rhymer, but it's about saying exactly what she wants to say with it, and I really appreciated that part of it. I love you gonna lose some friends, but those circles are better than the ovals. And that really just made me picture like just life, you know, you lose friends and you think it's all bad, but you know, having a nice round circle is better than having an oval with too many friends that doesn't roll properly. And she uses lines like that to
But that also had to do, I think, with like being in like the Oval Office, no?
Yeah, I mean, the next line did follow up with that, but it was like a couple. I think it was a way to segue into commenting on the fact that Barack Obama is no longer in office. But even that line in and of itself.
Yeah, there's a lot of very, like, I mean, throughout the album, there's a lot of, like, very relevant, like, what's happening in the news today kind of, like, bits of, like, information.
I don't know, but then at the same time, just these one-liners that like there is the congruency, but still that line just really resonated with me and it got my imagination going. Should be a crime to beat his fly and awesome to think love is all it cost him. And I like that one because it's like you just get this like idea that here she is, she's bopping around, and unlike everyone else, she didn't have to like buy her way in. She just had love for everybody. She just had respect.
Well, she talks about how like Jay-Z like noticed her right away.
Yeah, well. I don't know if he noticed her right away, but he's noticed her at this point for sure. Like,
yeah.
But I believe that's when, like, because I think that line is also interesting because it's almost like her grandmother talking to her, being like, "Don't be silly. Even Jay-Z notices you." You know, you got like that kind of feeling from it.
That's true.
And she has like this just sweetness to it, and she also goes as far as to be like, "I drink tons of water." I'm like, I think my favorite part about this song is that how regular she is.
Yeah.
And, like, I feel like I could just go hang out with her and it would be, like, a chill situation. Like, I wouldn't have to put up a front. Just be like, yo, what's good?
It's like we talk, and it's funny because when you say, like, you said, like, a regular, we think a lot about artists as being, like, superheroes and people we can idolize. And it's funny how she took, or at least showed off that message to you in terms of being, like, a regular person, like, idolizing the norm instead of having to be super extra a little bit.
I don't really, I mean, I get where you're coming from with the idolization, but I feel like the people, if I don't like to idolize celebrities like that, but the better way to look at it, the people who inspire me tend to be people like this. Like, you'll see Mos Def had that kind of same effect on me and a few others.
Like as much as they acknowledge their wealth, it's
Mos
still...
Def is actually one of her big influences.
Yeah.
Like, man, because the guy was so grounded. Oh, we did the review for Mos Def recently in the corner. But basically, what I'm trying to imply is she's so grounded, down to earth, and regular. Not regular like she's talented, but like she's humble. She's got this humanity to her where I feel like she within herself sees herself as just, you know, a regular person who has talents and this and that.
Well, I mean,
whereas a lot of the people that maybe you were describing previously actually do idolize themselves in a way to create this idol or this image of what's being worshipped by the constituents of their fan base.
That's true.
So take like a Quavo type who really does want the worship, right?
Right.
And then you compare it against this woman who really is more about presenting the message as she wants it. And I like that contrast. I'm not saying one is better than the other. Actually, as she'll point out later on the album, they both have their place. Don't get me wrong. But for me, this song is like on a lyrics front, supreme as fuck. But the church music vibe is totally not my favorite. And I get why it was, like, I get it, but I give it a 4 at the end of the day just because, anyway, you can finish your point. I just wanted to say I give it a 4 because of it not being my favorite.
Okay.
Well, no, my point was that the only thing I was making a connection, like, she's basically saying, like, I'm, like, and in a way I kind of got this message of, like, I have this, I've got cars, I've got money, I've got that, but I'm still a regular human being, like, I'm still normal, the saying, I put my pants one leg at a time like everyone else. And that was really cool to me, how she's just trying to break that barrier to show off, like, I'm just like you guys. And that was pretty cool. A difference. Other than that, I kind of agree. The church music was a little bit too much. I feel like if she kind of cut it out in the background a little bit, it would have been okay. But I feel like just the consistent there was just...
Yeah,
it was just a little overwhelming.
For me, there's like literally just to put it out there, the choice of music I could never have gotten on board with, no matter how they arranged it. It's just not my cup of tea.
Fair.
Yeah.
But I also gave it a 4.5, 4 on 5. My bad.
I just wanted to say that there's another line. I mean, you guys touched on it as well. That she's just sort of like a normal person. But like this, there's a line that says, "I owe Sally Mae, but owe my people way more," or Mo. And like I think that she's saying like she's doing this for you guys, and she doesn't care if it costs her money, if she's gonna lose money. You know, she's already in debt, and she's like whatever. So it's interesting because she's in like North Carolina, and I think that's the Sally Mae is like organization that you take out the loans from.
Yes.
So, and I think that, it shows that she's, an intelligent girl. Her lyrics are intelligent. She doesn't come across stupid or whatever. I mean, not like that other people who don't have college degrees come off not, stupid or whatever. But I think that, she does put together her lyrics and her lines and everything quite eloquently. And yeah, I think that she does mention the fact that she goes for a bachelor's and whatever in other songs. So, I mean, I guess maybe she is younger. I don't know. But,
we can Google that after
yeah.
the next song break.
Yeah, I also gave it a 4 on 5. I mean, it was okay. It was good.
All right. But we get joined by the K. Dot himself on Power.
Yeah.
I want the power to be able to rap about what I rap about. Black child, God-loving textiles.
I'd like to start this one off by saying I'm totally reading the 48 Laws of Power. She references it in the song saying she didn't read it. It's a fucking interesting book. I don't care what anyone says. But yeah, you should read the book because it's fucking interesting. And
Promo.
it'll give you insight.
Hashtag not an ad.
It's kind of like The Art of War and shit like Machiavelli, but like in corporate language using historical references to justify why your CEOs are assholes. It's pretty relevant and interesting knowledge. All I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a dick to read dick knowledge. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, this song's about power.
Yes. Featuring Kendrick Lamar and Lance Skiiiwalker with three eyes.
And I didn't know we were going to say it together. But I love it. It's like she's kind of like exploring her power, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's just... Hold on.
She's...
She wants the power. I want the rap route, homie. Get out the trap house. I want the power to be able to rap about what I rap about. That line right there.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's power. That is power. That's like what everybody who's in the independent world who's trying to like make pure music feels, Like that is power. I'm gonna say I'm gonna write my own album and do it that way. Oof.
But I think like it's like her, like she's also mentioning that it's like her blackness and like who she is and like the color of her skin and like all of that and her culture and stuff is what makes her who she is and like makes her powerful. And I think that that's like interesting because, they do kind of, I guess in today's culture, a lot of the time they're like the underdog, and then so she's saying that, just me being me is powerful. And I think that that's a great message.
And I agree. And part of it, too, is shit. Like, another one... Kendrick's verse is whatever for now, but I like his verse. But her verse struck me so much more significantly, and it spoke out a lot more to me. Like, no...
You're covering your face.
Like, no one can take your power, even if a storm occurred. It ain't mad-made, but whether or not you paid don't help or hurt. It's a perk. And that's saying, like, listen, so many of you are just like, oh, I don't make enough. Oh, this, that, the next thing. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And that, like, spoke to me on a very personal level because, remember about a year ago, we were sitting there and I was like, man, I don't have enough money to get my album out and this, that, the next thing. So we're like, let's make some podcasts.
Yep.
Turns out that was a good idea. And, like, for me, it's like she's basically saying, like, you choose to not indulge your inner strength.
Right.
You everyone's got talents. You get to a point where you know what you can do. Like
and like what she's doing is giving her like all this like street cred and like making her like, popular among like her peers and stuff.
She also makes sure to put God first again and making it sure like she stays so humble with it, right? Well, and then she takes shots at Birdman, and he calls everyone emotional and stuff. I enjoyed that. That's a great clip of Moment of History, and I'm so happy that everybody will never let that die. Like, it's just so funny.
I like how she has her own breakdown of what she feels is power in her first verse. That's what I got. Yeah. And then in the second verse, she establishes why she feels like she has power because people are listening to her and people are kind of like following what's being said from people in this type of status.
And then like that chorus has Skiiiwalker kind of saying some stuff and she's just like responding. And then everything goes weird and Kendrick comes in. And Kendrick gives us like 3 parts to his verse and it sounds like they were recorded in like 3 separate takes with 3
like
separate
that
mixing
whole, like,
events and
Jamaican thing
I
that he
feel
does.
like he's claiming like that made me only feel like he's claiming territory in the different type of ways he did it.
Here's how I saw it. At the beginning, it felt very much like a verse off a dam, like that, where he's questioning the responsibilities and the power of what it is. Then the second verse, part of it was kind of like whatever, and then I think he was trying to establish with because with the Jamaicans is look, I have so much power or so much influence that I can come here and be a part of this culture, and I just, become one of them. And then he put on the accent, which, if I understand Jamaicans correctly, a lot of them are okay with and a lot of them are not okay with. But I don't actually know if Kendrick Lamar's Jamaican or not, so I'm just kind of a little bit talking out of my ass here.
Well, I mean, he's not. He's American. And, I mean, I guess that, you can put on the accent, as if it's, like, his history. But it's still weird. But... I mean, it's all right. It sounded weird, but there was quotes about him, I don't know. There's information about him hanging out with Bob Marley and and Ziggy Marley, I guess. Well, not hanging out with Bob Marley, but going to his place and then going to Usain Bolt's place in Jamaica somewhere. And
I'm certain he bombs around down there, and they're totally cool with him. Don't get me wrong. I gotta say, when Kendrick Lamar does a feature, normally I get mad fucking nervous, and this was a pleasant feature, but I gotta
Why do you get nervous, though?
Because honestly, a lot of his featured verses are weak sauce.
But
just shit he rapped together. This fit the song.
But to know, in the music video...
I was about to say.
Oh, the part where he sings, they're in the car, and it's sort of like the background music that you can, barely hear. And then it's not really, covered.
Somebody gets out the car.
But I was wondering why they did that, if they, didn't like it,
Kendrick
or if, there was...
the video shoot.
No, but I feel like there's got to be something more than that. Maybe there was an issue. I don't know.
So if I were to take a guess, Kendrick couldn't make the video shoot day, and so what they did was use that guy who I didn't look up who it was in the music video, but some guy gets out the car and starts rapping, and it's not a bad verse. I didn't take the time to study it as well as
maybe that was Skiiiwalker.
Maybe. But yeah, that's worth noting. So if you want an alternate version of the track, I suppose the music video does that for you. Otherwise, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's the only video I've seen for this. And it does say featuring Kendrick Lamar in very big letters, and all he has is his little 2 seconds. Whatever, I get it. But I dug this track a fuck ton. It makes me think. I think the construction and the aliveness. Something she said is... she gave Kendrick this song while he was recording Damn. And then all the Damn track list got released, and they were all one-word titles. And she felt like this could have been an extension to that album or part of it. And honestly, I feel that. So I'm giving this a 5 because it's fucking brilliant and well-composed and well put together and stimulating and lovely.
Nice.
Cool. I gave this one a 4 on 5. It had an interesting sound. I liked the way that it flowed. I don't know. So far, it wasn't they're good. They're good songs. They are good songs. I'll just leave it at that.
Nice. I gave it a 4.5 on 5, mostly just out of preference. I don't think I'm really going to go back to this a lot. But I do like how both, is it Rapsody or Rapsody?
Rapsody.
Rapsody.
Like Bohemian Rhapsody without the H.
Oh, okay. So I like how Rapsody and Kendrick both kind of acknowledge that people are listening to them and that they kind of have to play this role of leader simply because they are in this type of status of power. And not a lot of rappers actually acknowledge that. It's mostly I kind of tell you what to do or I kind of make the rules. But I like that different other side, how they were able to give us that information on how they feel with that. So.
Fair enough.
Cool.
No.
All right, let's talk about Chris Chrome. Whoa.
Ooh.
That's the big homie. Daddy said always keep a G on. I got the dagger back. That thing still.
This is another lovely song. I love the fact that the beat flips up and keeps you alive and interested in it. And I just got to say, the second part, there's this sound in it that makes me picture the MASH theme song, and I can't get it out of my head, so all I could, picture was MASH while I was listening to the end of this song.
Okay.
Nice.
I didn't have that problem.
Oh, that's fine.
I like how she is, for me, what I got from this song is that she's basically explaining guys are always kind of talking shit a little bit. I got that they're always trying to floss and show off how they got money, how they're doing this. But then, for example, oh, well, this is coming in June. This is coming in 2 months. It's I'm big king shit, but everything I'm getting is coming. I don't have it now.
Okay.
If I can paraphrase that a little bit differently, just because I watched some of her talking about this song on an interview, it's more she's trying to express with that everyone's so focused on the destination And nobody cares about the journey and the part in the middle when they're getting there. Nobody wants to admit that, like, this shit's, like, 10 years running in. Nobody wants to talk about it. So everyone's just flossing this and that's, right? And it's reflected in, like, there's more to it, right? There's lines like, boys always taught don't cry, but need to cry. I was taught to respect the driver more than I do a ride. And, like, in one line, it says so much, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, it's
like,
true. It's like she doesn't want to, like, enforce any stereotypes.
But, like, on top of the fact that, like, girls, like, men are really taught not to cry, like, man up, deal with that shit, you know? Like, all walks of life, we all get the same kind of bullshit. But even the way she starts the song, boys on the block, as in the bad gangster types, quote unquote, told boys on the spot, like the little ones, you got a shot, youngin', you ain't gotta get shot, like, you don't have to be like me. Dangerous to measure a man by the size of his cock, you know? Interesting line. And then, like, I was told to measure a king by the size of his flock. Okay, but she's going for what she feels is important. Who your leader and where y'all going? My army big enough to carry a Boeing? Oh shit, they're her flock. Is she the king? It's just like,
she's like her own king in, like, her world. I think that's
but like,
awesome.
I feel like she's really trying to say that, like, everyone's so on this fast vibe and all that other shit, and everyone's flossing, but somehow she got a lot of these things, but she just appreciates the ride. She doesn't, like you said earlier, she doesn't even care about the car, like having the car as much. Like, oh, I got the car, but why do you guys care so much? You know, like, she's just doing her thing.
But you know what it is? I think it's because she also understands that it's going to happen. Like, at a certain point, even if you want to talk about, like, even what we're doing, we're on this grind to do these podcasts and do these shows and give our opinions,
and to learn
that too. But of course, there is end goals that we want to have in the next 10 years. But it's like, we know that that's gonna come. We're on that journey now.
So I think it's a way to look at it even on that. It's like, I've had moments where for months I'm just negative and it almost feels like we're just showing up and doing it, and all I'm doing is thinking about when I get there. And the idea is then you're just miserable until you get there, and then when you get there it's hollow and it's almost not as, versus taking the time to appreciate stuff like what Laila's wisdom contains on his disc, and actually having it apply to your life and the joys in the middle and flourish. And then just, I mean, the song touches on a lot of little ideas as it goes on. I don't know, like, I didn't have enough time to absorb all of them, but I appreciate the perspective and the general gist of the tone where she's coming from on this track. I love the way it flips up in the middle. This track is a 4.75 on 5. It's not perfect, but it's so fucking close that I could really listen to this a lot.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
I mean, like, for me, it's like she sounds smart. She isn't just believing anything that people tell her. I mean, I did, quote the line that you mentioned about the boys crying thing, and I thought that was, like, a notable, like, thing to mention. But I think she just really, like just overall what she's saying is that she's real, and that she isn't just going to be, like, a stereotype and whatever. She's not going to enforce the stereotype. She's not going to, like, I think that she's just trying to be, like, her own person, and then that's what's making her stronger and powerful, and she has her own crew or whatever. So I thought that was really cool. But for me, like, I didn't like the sound of it so much, so I gave it a 3.5. It wasn't my favorite for this one.
Okay.
I actually really liked the sound. The production on the beat for me was very smooth, very... it didn't drop at any time. It didn't feel disjointed or even disconnected from each other. Nice little cruising ride. And it was funny because I in the little intro in the beginning of the song, I got, like, the dude was calling in, or, like, the outro of the last song that fades into this one. I got an idea of this guy's calling in trying to tell his homie, or at least Rapsody, that he's getting is, like, a car, as much as I'm concerned, right? Like, so
okay.
I was like, like, it got this cruising sound because he's talking about a car.
I didn't get what the chrome was, so I wasn't figuring it out.
It's the wheel. It's
So-
on the
Chrome wheel, chrome color.
Because it's kind of like a way of flossing. It's like, you got there when you got the nice car with the chrome wheels in it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, and that's how I see it. It is. It's a mark of the destination. It's when I get there, I get my happiness.
I got that, and that was really cool. As well, I like how... and again, like you guys said earlier, I like how she's enjoying the adventure, and that's something that I'm really about. I'm not in this game I don't care for the money or for the fame. I'm in it for the adventure, for the experience, for the connections, the people I meet, the experiences and the learning. And I like that that message that Rapsody was saying on her song, because it's like you said, why do you care about the final car? Why do you care about that rich thing? Like, you should enjoy every step so that when you get there, you appreciate it more.
Okay.
Cool.
And what'd you give it?
4.5 on 5.
Awesome. So pay up, motherfucker.
Pay up.
Money hungry, but he can't pay her bill.
We got a song that is really awesome. It calls out a male gold digger and a female gold digger in
Yes,
the
I caught
opposite
that.
order.
Whew,
And
I was so scared.
it's not like there's a lot of hidden messages. It's pretty much just blatantly and bluntly fucking coming up. Like
The girl wants her, like, the guy to, like, buy things.
So, oh, I'm gonna be a star. You gotta get me all this nice stuff so I can get my thing. I ain't got time to wait. That would be the summary of the whole first verse.
Yep.
But what I love about it is how she puts the freeloading guy who just like sits on the couch. Like, this is the only line that really like hit me. That was like super fucking distinct. There was a couple. She money hungry but can't pay her bills. I like that line. And I heard it first from Hobson, weirdly enough, and a couple other people who have pointed out that there are this degree of women who go out of their way to be hot and to make it look like they're living a life, but really just can't pay their bills.
Yeah,
And,
they have to get, someone else to do it.
and then on the other side, you has come up. He don't want to come up. That's why he's preying on independent women. So it's like you really think about it, like you got all these independent women who just want a man and all that other shit. They got their shit together. And it's like there aren't enough men around, so they're stuck with some freeloader who's just gonna,
It's like that women are their own gold diggers now. Like, they're taking care of themselves,
Mm-hmm.
And so then, some guy comes along and mooches off of them, and then you're like,
And
wow,
she's like, well,
fuck.
I can take care of him. But like it almost at first probably feels empowering. Like you're doing so well, you can handle it, you can take care of him. But then he goes opportunity, and then he doesn't leave. The funk on this, the bass line.
I like the way it goes, pay up, pay out, or whatever. I thought that was fun.
Well, I like that. I like that type of pay up and pay out type message, because it's like when you're putting in so much effort and you're starting to ask yourself, where is the payout? Where is the payoff?
Exactly.
Like, I'm here supporting your ass. I'm here doing what I gotta do, but
honestly, I know I haven't commented on the lyrics, but that's because the best part of this song is how it's structured, how fun it is, how you put it on it from the first seconds, you just got this energy flowing through you. Like
about the structure, I like how it was Rapsody, and then the dude, and it struck me when I listened to it the second time.
Well, what dude?
There's a dude on this song.
Oh, maybe.
There's Heather Victoria is the featured singing girl.
I thought isn't there a dude on this song who plays the broken guy?
No.
I don't think so.
Oh, that might be another song. Oh my god, my bad.
Yeah, there's no guy on this song.
My bad.
But thanks, because Heather Victoria is the one, because at a certain point it goes into the really singy hook, and she's there, and she's not credited on Spotify, so I thought I'd throw her name out there. I love this track. It's really fun.
Yeah.
It's not that long. It's concise. It comes in and does its mission really well, and then it bombs off in a way that leaves you completely satisfied. I'm giving this a 5 on 5. I plus it on Spotify, and I could totally see myself bombing again to this.
Cool. I gave this one a 4.5 on 5. I really did enjoy the sound of it. It was really good, and like the way that it flowed and everything. Even the story was good. I mean, it makes sense, like everything about it. And I thought it was like fun to mention that they each got, like both the guy and the girl were given or got flowers. And I thought that was like kind of cute, she
bought me flowers once.
Because I bought him flowers once and it freaked him out. But yeah, I thought it was cute the way that they did that.
Well, it's cool you brought that up, because I took it as she got him flowers to kind of show her affection for him and try to show how he's doing well, so that he can kind of level up, and she still feels like he didn't want to do anything for it.
Yeah.
And I think it's, again, to just draw that relatability that this is happening everywhere, And I feel like there's a huge association of just relatability. Like, you could, pick your gender. There's a verse in a way, and you've probably been there. Anyway, love this song.
Cool.
What did you give it?
4.5.
And what'd you give it?
I gave it a 4 on 5.
Ah, boo.
Look, it's not a bad song.
Chris.
I do like it. It's just, again, preference.
It's just, you're riding dirty. Like Chingy.
No, he's just
You
writing.
know, like Chameleonaire.
Ah, it's too
Drive by this nigga, that nigga. Don't matter if they holler. You let them in next thing.
I wanna say something.
Okay, what do you want to say,
I
Chris?
really like how she rhymed Skiiiwalker with shit and me.
That's pretty. She is good. I feel like, yeah, no, her rhyming's A game. She has multiple rhyme schemes, and she's particularly good at that multi-syllabic rhyming. This track to me was super like pensive, almost like she went back home for the weekend or something, and like you got a sense of where she's come from.
Well, she's searching for herself at the beginning, so I mean, obviously, in some sense, she's feeling lost.
Yeah, like went searching for myself and I didn't find shit. Shit. Why everywhere I go, it turned into some shit, right?
I feel like she's talking about her past and how she was like right where she came from and how she was growing up. I got this like feeling of she was confused and lost as a teenager, and she ended up running with a group of crowd of bad people.
Like, she comes from a small town,
right? But she also claims to be a tomboy. She also states that she likes to chill with the dudes and do what the dudes do. So, in that
She's a tough chick.
it makes me feel like she ended up running with gangsters, OGs. And
well, I feel like there were people like that in her family per se, because I got the feeling that it wasn't so much that she ran with them, but she was like that person they would come to when there was trouble, because she goes, truth hurt, I know it do, but please don't lie to me, good or bad, I'm here for you. That's what you call family. So whether it's friends,
family will always have your back.
Like you could be, but I got the feeling like maybe she wasn't necessarily in it as so much as she was around it.
That's what I'm saying. I don't mean to say in it. I mean like, because I get this picture of like, you know, how you chill with your boys and you have like that one guy's girlfriend who's like always there. Yeah. It's like she's that girl who's just in the group. Whatever the homies are doing, like, she's doing too.
You got that guy's verse who kind of has a very similar tone. It is GQ. So and anyway, I didn't find anything super noteworthy to quote in his verse, but it fit the song really well because I was really caught up on the third verse, which was super interesting because it gets all twervy. Like, you get the sense.
Well, you get like that instrumental bit in like the middle.
They're like in the car, faded, driving around, and then they crank the music up. Oh, that's my jam. The cops come. And then they like turn it down because the cops are there. And then the second the cops gone, turn it back up. And
I thought it was a house party. I didn't realize it was a car.
I got the sense
thought it was a house party.
I thought it was a house party too.
It could be a house party, and I was wrong.
And she's all like, oh, officers, I'm sorry.
I feel like it was more of a house party than in a car.
It could be, but I don't know. It's just
Whatever.
the feeling I freaking got. It's the same general principle of, it gives you this sense of like, it's like this whole song is like she's going through her memories, trying to work out why everything falls to shit, and just kind of settles on these stories she shares with us. And that's not a bad song at all.
No.
And then the song's called Ridin, which I guess is where I got the car part from.
Well, I mean, it could be, but for me, it was just like riding through life.
They went to a house party somewhere in the song.
Hold on.
And then at the end, this is like after the party, and they're on to... Anyway, that's just what I felt.
It was something.
It works either way. I also took riding as just like riding with the crew, do it like you're a ride or die chick type thing. So it was really cool how Rapsody explained where she comes from, and it's very interesting to hear your guys' side from it, because I really got this like she's explaining what her homies were doing or what she was surrounded by and how she kind of moved with them and that, and then you got GQ who's explaining his side of like what he sees, but it's more about the situation instead of having Rapsody there.
Right.
And I was like, you can tell the difference in who's more concerned about what. I got that Rapsody was more concerned about like the family aspect, the friend aspect, like is everybody good? Is everybody cool? Like we gotta lay low, nah. And GQ was more like, this is business, this is what we gotta do, and this is the type of life we have to this is the type of life we live.
Right.
Okay.
That makes total sense. I give this one a 4. Mostly for music styles not being my preference, and in general, these kinds of songs are cool, but these kind of pensive, reflective ones, I find them hard to go back to again over and over. Fits the album, super well placed and everything.
That's true, yeah.
Preference, whatever, yeah.
Same. I gave it a 4 on 5. I mean, I felt the similar things. Like it was good and it fits and it works with the album, but it just wasn't like a standalone kind of song for me. But it's a good song still.
I gave this a 5 on 5. I think that structure-wise, it was great. I like I like how the honesty and the realness that a Rapsody is bringing to the table. GQ again, for me, it was a little bit like, yeah, you're a rapper, you're a gangster, it seems like a little bit of a generic verse, but not very generic. Anyway. But for Rapsody, I never really hear the other side. Like I don't get to think like how, for example, my girlfriend feels when she's chilling with me and my homies, or how any other girl I've chilled with when it's like a group of friends or at a party. I don't really know what they think. So it was cool to see Rapsody give that little bit of insight on how she sees, like how I guess I'm assuming what a girl would feel like in these type of movements. So I was really like, this is really, really interesting.
Cool. All right, let's check it. Sassy, sassy, sassy.
Sassiness upset you. Mad that I survived on the way up.
This one just feels like a giant celebration. Like she's come into herself. She knows who she is now. She's feeling the successes in her life. I'm like, you get a sense of confidence and like exuberance and like she like I don't know. I don't have a lot to add onto this track. I love the line, I got around guards, no carousel. When it got deep, I grew wings and parasailed. Read the Bible way more than fairy tales. Thought I wouldn't elevate, I took the stairwell. And that's interesting because it kind of like...
slow and steady.
But also like puts faith in God. Like she looks to what she sees as the truth and she follows it. She recognizes that even if she didn't think it was going to work, she still put the faith into taking that staircase. Whoa. Never even believing she's going to make it all the way, right? Because she thought she wouldn't elevate, and then the staircase is the slow, so it requires faith to decide to go up those stairs knowing that you might never make it to the top.
I would also go with hope to take every obstacle.
There's no hope.
Well,
hope is passive, and based on all the biblical references and my understanding of God and faith, it's not hope. Hope is like you're waiting for like shit to happen in your life. That's what passive people do.
Okay.
Successful people put faith in themselves and achieve things. With the faith of a mustard seed, you can move a miracle. So it's impossible to have a message like this beyond the premise of hope.
Well, I was honestly just saying, just with the staircase line, every step is longer than taking shortcuts and stuff like that. And I guess hope is the bad word.
It is the bad word.
Faith in every
hope
step that you take.
Faith is the slow and steady.
Okay.
And hope would be like, I hope that shortcut's going to pay off for me.
Okay.
So that's what I'm particular about certain kinds of language like that. I grew up with all the God stuff.
Fair enough.
But it makes sense. And anyway, I feel like the whole track has this really excellent positive feel. The music's fun. I know she's referencing some lady from the Sassy line that she throws in and kind of is like, I don't know. I dig the track.
I think she references Maya Angelou.
Yeah. And
because like she also talks about like her own sexiness and stuff like that, and there's a lyric that is, I got diamonds between my legs, oil wells my thighs. Does my sassiness upset you, or are you mad because I survived? And I think that like she's just trying to say that like she's sexy in her own way, and like she doesn't need your opinion, she doesn't need your approval. And like I think that, you know, and she's powerful in like the fact that she's sexy and she owns herself and she's out there and she's like doing her own thing. So I thought that was like cool and like, you go girl.
Nice.
4.25 for me. I love what the song's about. I like it more than the previous track, but I don't know. I find it a little harder to relate to than some of the other ones.
Fair. I see all of this. But I just got that she's like, y'all are mad that I'm on top and rapping and I'm a chick. That's straight up what I got. I mean,
I think it's more than that she's a chick. It's that she's a chick who doesn't look like what you're supposed to look like. And she's not selling out and doing what a lot of other people have. And in spite of not necessarily doing what many others have expected or the critics, imagine what she must have got when she was younger.
Yeah.
I saw that there was a tweet like, yo, check out this girl Rapsody, and the first answers were shit like, yo, what she look like? So she's had to deal with that kind of shit her whole life. Right. And if you look at her, I think she's fine, but you can see how other people might be a little more critical or ignorant.
Is it this song or is it another one? that there is. She does touch upon like the looks and having
there's
to.
another one.
Okay.
That's more specific, but
Okay.
I think it's also touched upon here because this one's more, I feel like, about her self-esteem and her inner
Like,
worth.
it doesn't matter what you think about her. She thinks she's fine. And, like, so screw you.
And that's what a lot of people need to come to understanding. Like, it doesn't really matter what people think. It's what you think.
That's true. That's true.
Yes, within reason. Like,
I do agree. I mean, look, if we're gonna
like, your self-worth should be something that you find within yourself, but
It shouldn't be dependent on anyone else.
Shouldn't be, but it also shouldn't come like ignore what other people say. It isn't a fuck your opinion. It's like, I'm just saying in general, for the life advice portion that Chris went into here. Like, but what she's going for is, look, if somebody's gonna call you ugly or bring you negativity, you don't need that shit because you have your inner shine, and her inner shine shines bright. I'm just saying.
That's true. That's true.
To taper it a bit. Anyway,
I give it a 4 on 5.
Yeah, me too.
all right, let's move on to Nobody.
Takes organ real versus radio hits. It's all hip hop. You can't divide what ain't different.
That song is fucking cool. Like, so it starts off with like the premise of this is nobody knows what's really going on in her life, but by design, right? Mm-hmm. And then
What do you mean by design?
like she makes it. She doesn't tell you what's going on. Like it's her choice that like people don't know, right?
Yeah. She's
So,
not.
like-
she's also not advertising it. I think is what she's saying.
Like, so like nobody know I'm harder on myself than lonely fathers. Watching Mrs. Parker these days, nobody know who authored rhymes or rappers on carpets. Nobody know who real or not. So she's also identifying the fact that nobody also knows which of these rappers are real or fake because the things people are saying aren't necessarily true anymore. I fuck, it's interesting, man. Like nobody know, and then you got like Black Dot comes in and he's like, nobody know I'm scared of personal shit because everybody judge you. Love to change the intent. Internet got no chill. Nobody know how it feel to be an artist.
Well, I feel like in what he says
Or
is
maybe
that
that's her. I don't
he's
know which
thanking
one said that.
Rapsody as well for like
Yeah.
for being her and for like just
Sorry, I think that other quote was actually hers as well. Anyway, yeah, you're right. Black Star does give you that sense that he's grateful for being there, and in
that
general,
like he sees
Black,
it. She's
Black
like,
Thought.
yeah.
Black Thought. Sorry, and he's dealt with some personal loss recently, and has clearly been going through some stuff that again nobody's aware of.
But that's the entire message of the song, right? It's like people think they know what's going on. People like to assume and stuff, but they're really basically saying that nobody really truly knows. And until we tell you or until we have that ability, and I say we as in like the person knowing what's wrong with me, until I tell you, you can't really assume or judge what I'm doing until you've sat down and take the time to understand.
But it's also just a matter that like don't buy into the impressions of what people are putting off because there is a lot of fakeness. And it does create a high level of insecurity within yourself. Like, there is a big degree of this track's about social media.
Well, yeah, at the very end, I mean, it's like she's talking to this other girl and she's just, talking about Instagram and Snapchat and her Twitter and
man,
like
it's
DMing people and like it's just
It's like she
everything.
wakes up and is on her phone and having this phone call. And all the other girl goes is, and she just responds to, like, everything. She's just stuff like, got a Snapchat with my baby, and if I did smoke weed, I'd probably snap that chew. You know how it go. Please, even the police on Instagram, where the hell are you? Wait a minute, I got a DM from my boo girl. And it's just like you put so much on blast, and she's like talking about it, and don't worry about it. Like in that second part, it gets on shit. Like, and listen, even if you don't know the details right now, don't you worry. Somebody gonna put all the details up on Twitter, on the Facebook, on that.
It's
And
like
they're
everybody's watching.
And everybody's gossiping and everyone's filling in the story and everyone's paying attention and all of this. But if you couple that with the idea that really nobody knows anything about what's really going on, it really creates a powerful... This song is 7 minutes and 27 seconds long, right? And it fucking hits the nail right on the head. For me, this shit's a 4.5. It's a two-parter that really works well together. Interesting, scratches your noggin type shit. Black Dot's fucking wicked.
He
Anderson
sounds smart
Paak
and
does his little chorus thing.
Yeah.
Really beautifully done. I like this song. It's fucking great.
Nice.
cool. Nobody still know who shot Big and Paak. I'm bothered. I think that's like an important thing is that everybody knows like all these little details about what everybody's doing nowadays and what food they're having and whatever, and like except nobody knows who killed someone. It's like you should figure that out. The cops should be dealing with that kind of stuff, I guess.
That's fair.
You know, and so I thought that was like an interesting thing to mention.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it was good, and I think that she's also saying that nobody has the answers. Nobody knows why there's innocent people in jail. Nobody knows like why racism is still happening, and I think that it's like she's saying that like it just is, and it, you know, and nobody knows how to stop it, and you know, nobody knows any of this stuff, and so I just thought it was like an interesting idea for a song. I gave this one a 4 on 5. It's very long,
Yeah.
and, you know, and like for me, like it felt a bit long, but I mean, it was still good like the whole way through.
I as well gave it a 4 on 5 simply for the length. I think that the message behind it is really powerful, and like acknowledging that, look, not everything you see is real, not everything you hear is true, and not everything is your fucking business too. That is, I think, is the main thing to it. Is
I think it's maybe not so that the main thing. It's more like we should be focused on those things instead of those things.
Okay, that's another way to look at it, right? But that's mostly what I got from it, and I just to touch upon a little bit about the skit at the end with the social media. That is a very big part of it nowadays. I get it. We like to let each other know what's going on. We like the social media, but at the same time, there is certain things that I scroll on my Facebook and I see that I don't really think people should be knowing about. We don't need to know about certain aspects of your personal life all over, because if I can see it, 10 million people in the next country can see it.
Look, man, every single time you get fired or hired by a job, everybody else sees that, including your future job employers. If you end a relationship and you start a relationship and then talk about how you got fired and hired within a week at the same job, and I have somebody in mind, oh boy, nobody ever going to hire you again. That's all I'm trying to say. I know you're probably not going to watch this. That's why it's safe to say it. But, oh, boy, you're never going to get a job, and you're never going to keep a man the way you're approaching it because you snitch yourself out on Facebook like Rapsody told you not to do.
That's true.
Anyway, want to talk about Black and Ugly?
Sure.
Than what you niggas still trying to be.
So, on this track, we have her exploring her feelings about being, let's say, a less attractive lady and being black, and how I guess that stuff made her feel ugly, but now she's flipped it all on it and found her feelings of pride. And it's almost like, again, another song of like dealing with these emotions of flipping shit. Like,
well, I think it also ties into she also is trying to explain like her in the field that she's in is also like affected by being black, and I guess what she feels is her ugly appearance.
And then like, I love this line though: talking appearance ain't no diss to me, no one dissing me. Fucking cool, eh? No one's even dissing her. I've been to hell and back and came back up here screaming victory. And you're just like, look at her, man. Like, maybe people do like diss her appearance every now and again, but we've gotten to a point where that doesn't even happen. She had to go through all of this stuff, and now finally it's like people are giving her the respect she feels she earns, and it's amazing. And then this other one where like she just embraces her blackness, like black bottom Jordans, my soul black as organs of chain smokers at churches that sang hymns to organs. And I'm like, that's just like, you just picture vivid imagery in the way she describes this.
And like she mentions that like she has a lisp, but like that doesn't stop her and that doesn't change like what she can do.
Well, people have made it, that line you're referring to is people have made it clear that she has a lisp, and she's explaining that people seem to nitpick at certain things when you're godlike or really good at what you do. And she's basically saying like, well, apparently I have this lisp that people keep talking about, but I'm still balling, I'm still making money, I'm still spitting crazy bars. And she's also trying to relate that when you nitpick on certain things, like the voice, the tone, the little rasp or whatever, you're taking away from the music that's trying to be created. The message that's trying to be relayed.
Yeah, that's true.
I have one more that I really liked.
Sure.
I know shit about him, and I know shit about her, but I don't know shit where I sleep, so don't shit on none of y'all. That ain't in my armor. I believe in karma. And again, it's like, she knows stuff about what's going on. She could go out there and just open her mouth and talk and blah, 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 blah. But instead, she believes that what goes around comes around, so she's going to take the high road in all circumstances, which is amazing.
Nice.
And BJ, the Chicago kid's back. Yesterday on our review, we said we'd talk about it. He's back.
Yep.
And Nice voice. Comes in, does that hook proper. This track for me is a 4.5. It's really great. It's really powerful, and it really says a lot.
Cool. I like at the beginning, like, or I think it was in the second verse maybe, where she's questioning, or somebody questions like her hair and if she's like really black enough. And it's like people are questioning her everything, you know, like if she's black enough, if she has a lisp, if she's, you know, if she's ugly or not. Like, is she ugly simply because she's black? And like that's what makes her like ugly to like pop culture eyes. Like, it's just weird, like the whole thing. But like, you know, she's saying that like what she does and who she is what makes her beautiful. And I think that that's, you know, great. I think that, you know, overall, and you know, she's also saying us at the beginning that, you know, people love her now because she's talented, whereas if, you know, maybe she wasn't getting like the time of day from other people back then, you know. And anyways, I thought it was like a really interesting song. It was clever. It felt like very personal and like quite raw. So I gave this one a 4.5 on 5.
Nice. I gave this another 5 on 5. I think that it's a really, I liked everything about it. I liked the production behind the beat. I liked the message that she's trying to explain. I know certain people who've dealt with this type of issue, and I've heard their stories and how they kind of handle it, being like half black, half white, being light skinned, not being accepted by certain, you know, I guess races or certain groups that you want to call it, high school friends and stuff like that. So I don't want to say I can relate 100%, but I can kind of grasp the concept of where she's coming from. So I think it was amazing that she touched upon this. And again, I don't think I've heard a song like this before. I don't think I've heard this type of message before. A lot of music I listen to, they're black and proud, which is great, but where is your struggle with it is my question.
Yeah.
I know.
This podcast,
I know.
like,
I'm not, because like we're gonna go down like all the.
Recently. Like,
Which one?
Most Def kind of has that. He has the proud of it, but there's also the struggle that comes with it on other songs. I feel like every conscious rapper that's approached blackness has approached their struggle with being black, and their mark of pride is
David Banner.
Literally what they're doing. Like, it's if anything, she's doing what they have done in the past and keeping the tradition going.
Fair.
I mean, I would admit, I haven't heard it quite from the perspective of a black woman who doesn't look like a supermodel before. Mm-hmm. So Missy Elliott would be another great example. Queen Latifah would be another example of people. Like, Queen Latifah's an album we reviewed.
Yeah. I again, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't remember Queen Latifah having a song that was about this, though.
But it also might not have been so blunt because it was like 91.
Fair.
I'm not saying you have encountered it per se as directly as this, but I'm pretty sure we've hit this subject matter before.
Fair. Still 5 on 5 though.
All right. Well, you should know.
I should know.
Floor, they talking keys to success, but I'm a whole new door, still slipping through traffic.
So this song's another two-parter, but I feel like the second part is more of a segue, you know, as opposed to being like a two-parter in the same way.
Okay.
So, like, this song kind of comes in with her just like...
She's just flossing, like, I'm the best you've ever seen.
This was, like, the first single off the album, right? So if you consider it from, like, a promotion point of view, this is the equivalent of, like, a Without Me or something. I'm back. You should know who the fuck I am, and this is why I'm hot, right? Like, and she came in, and I feel like she really accomplished that goal. But in that humble way, applying Laila's wisdom, as she's been doing throughout this album...
Which is cool. And again, I think that's also what I'm trying to get at, that she's not your average rapper.
And I'm trying to say that many rappers we've covered have had wisdom in their lyrics.
Right.
I count 10 by 5s. I'm always halfway there in my mind. It's on you to catch up this time. The world is yours, Nas. I'm sorry. I'm just driving the point.
Yes.
But that perspective is fucking amazing. It's like you can ask her. I'm always talking about 6 months from now, a year from now, the future. In my head, I'm like already there, right? I'm never like fucking so much in this moment as I am like trying to find ways to get to that next level, and always visualizing the future so that you can actually make it come through, because that's what The Secret and every other self-help book really says. So when everything says the same thing, you know, you got to assume there's got to be a high degree of truth in it.
Well, she can't be stopped. She doesn't care what anybody thinks. She's going to kill it, and she's going to be great, and she's going to be a star, and that's it.
And then I love this line. Lord, listen, forgive me. I ain't got no sympathy for flowers. They say it's better to die with pride than to die as a coward. I say some situations call for our pride to be swallowed. So we live to watch payback come in the form of good karma. I'm just like, that's like when you get all mad and hot and bothered and riled up and you think about who else's fault it is and all that business. You turn the other cheek and you just know that by doing the right thing, one day the good thing is going to come back to you. So in those moments when you're stressed, this woman is I hope she wins the Grammy is all I'm trying to say. This is better than Damn. I like this album more than Damn so far is all I'm trying to say.
Nice.
Well, I like that she disses Miley Cyrus.
I don't think she disses Miley Cyrus. I think that's an interesting point too, right? Because what she's saying there is everyone's so concerned with Miley Cyrus taking up the lane of hip-hop and everyone's so concerned that Miley Cyrus is whatever, that like she's getting in the way of other people's success. And that's concerning to her because there's room in hip-hop for everyone. Mm-hmm. That's what I took from that section of the song, which is great. I'm happy you brought that up. That was a good point too because I had referenced that a bit earlier. Like, she believes that everyone can succeed. And I don't know. Is this the one where she mentions Dancing a Waka Flocka song? I might not be, but that comes up at a certain point as well.
Well, Anyway, what I want to say about it is because that is part of the whole... with the Waka Flocka, it's because she's put in a box and people think that because she's certain way... Yeah. Right? Like she's a certain way. She shouldn't be listening to Waka because he doesn't sound the same. But it's like, why? There is no reason why she can't listen to Waka.
I think Waka's an excellent performer. His lyrics are a little whack sometimes, but his music's it's got its time, and you can turn up to Waka every time. So he accomplishes his goals the way that our friend Busta Rhymes accomplishes his goals in many times.
And here comes Busta.
And this is an interesting thing because like it segues the whole song. And when you think about what tracks come after it, it makes a lot more sense what the purpose of this Busta Rhymes little interlude is for. And he's like, hold up, Rapsody.
But
Let me
it's
talk
so
to you
weird.
about love.
He goes into like this like Barry White like inspired singing.
It was so nice. Like his sporadicness is amazing, but it was
like a little bit like an old man remembering being 20 and falling in love for like the first time. Yeah. And he's like consumed with this woman, and he really is like a
like
great
who is he like thinking of? I wonder. Like he's like having sex with her and like imagining this.
Like was he talking to Rapsody about her?
Like that's where I was confused. I'm like, who is this for?
I know.
I think he was just laying down like the fundamentals of like what he thinks love is and what he thinks like being.
And I believe
like
it's
the
like
wisdom
that,
of love.
Like, but it totally comes off like he wants to fuck Rapsody.
It's weird. It's weird the way he does it, but it's good.
Maybe he does.
Which is totally like, I actually Googled I was looking, are they dating? Are they smashing? Is that apparently Ninth Wonder was like, you would sound good like Busta did on this other album. We should try it. And when you consider what comes next, it makes sense. It's a way of pivoting the album into a different direction, which he accomplishes really well here.
With Busta Rhymes. It's just so weird hearing like Busta kind of singing you like a sexy song.
But I think that itself is a part of it. I think Rapsody and Busta both know like people are expecting him to be like da-na-na-na-na and all thing.
Not at this point.
That's exactly it. Maybe you don't think so, but like I would expect him to be like that.
That's because you ain't listened to Busta's career since like any time recent. He hasn't been like he's old now. He's not the same Busta Bus from like back in the day. Did you hear Twerk It, dude?
No.
Did you hear his Young Money? He got signed to Young Money, bro.
Well, I knew that. I just
I'm
didn't
just
hear
saying,
his song.
like, I know Busta Rhymes has a wide versatility of multiple styles of he can do pretty much most things. I've heard him fast. I heard him slow. He does it all. He has gangster songs, love songs. Baby, if you give it to me, I'll give it to you. Come on, it's not like, he slowed down.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. 4.5 on 5. This track's brilliant. I really like what it is, and I kind of find him creepy, but I like what Busta does here.
Nice.
I gave this one a 4 on 5. It's another good song. For me, it's not like a hit, but, I mean, it's good. Like, the album is pretty consistent throughout.
I gave this a 4.5 on 5. I just thought it was too long.
All right, let's move on to a roller coaster jam called Love.
What's wrong? You tell me nothing, babe. I'm alright. I guess every journey come with long yellow lights.
This is the story of a girl and a boy.
Who cried a river and trailed
Yeah, that was in my
home.
head. And she looks so sad in photo.
Okay.
It's a different genre of music. But this track it's an amazing song. Right off the jump, from a lyrical and conceptual perspective, because it's got honesty at the core. So clearly, she's dating
That's
this
true.
guy, and they're just not at the same place in life.
Yep.
Is the beginning of where you're at. Like,
Yep.
they're trying to like figure it out, and things just aren't as easy as it could be. It's tough. They're just not like really like, it's like if you don't work the same shifts, and it's just everything just feels like harder is what you get the sense of, right?
Yep.
And then in the second verse, it's almost like they coexist at this point. Like even they've been living together, they've been for a while. They just don't interact. They don't talk. They're just kind of there, but that's all right because that's what it is and whatever. And then she kind of like needs some space because she needs to try to like figure it out. But don't worry, baby, it's gonna be okay. And then she kind of like it kind of like flares up a bit, and she doesn't want to get trip out and get mad and have bad things happen. And there's just a few lines here that really like struck me because there's some fucking like I've lived this relationship, you know, like to give you the proper love. I gotta love myself some. You gotta find yourself something. Get a hobby or something. During gray spaces we existing in, when we ain't quite a couple, but we more than friends. When it's like you start dating and y'all fucking and y'all in that point where you're not really in the relationship yet, but you realize this person's entire life is kind of your life because you got your shit together and you know what's up, you making stuff happen, and this person's almost like piggybacking off of your friends, your world, etc. And it's like, listen, I don't even care. Get a hobby. Go do fucking anything. Go be a person, you know? And then it just fucking degrades from that point on. I love this line. Gets cold in the summer and winter. Your heart just want to cuddle up. Make up sex with a person. Ooh, I promise, baby, I'm still deep in love with you. And that's one I've had. It's like you fight, you argue, you're frustrated, but then you fuck and everything's okay again. And it almost be like your whole relationship exists in this like roller coaster ride of emotional fighting / fucking and making up. And if you actually do look into the way they describe abuse in a psychological sense, it is that kind of a pattern of badness. And I'm not saying that she's describing an abusive situation. It's just the way, even from a masochistic, we do it to ourselves sense.
Okay.
It follows that kind of pattern.
But I think that, like, she says that she loves herself more than she loves him. And I think that, like, she's staying true to who she is. And, like, no matter what happens, like, she's going to, like, she is her number one love.
See,
and I think that that's, like, an important thing to take.
I think that she hasn't quite got to that place yet. I feel like she knows that because like, I think the line...
But she says she loves herself more than you.
Well, I don't know if that is directly...
Yeah, at the beginning.
Because it's to give you proper love, I got to love myself some. That's what... the one, because that's the only one at the beginning.
Maybe.
And I could be wrong unless she does say it, but what I took from that was more she knows that this isn't really love, and she's starting to recognize that maybe she doesn't love herself as much as she's supposed to have that respect. Like, it looks like this relationship started from a place where nobody was okay, and she's elevated and he is not elevated with her, and now she needs some space to figure it out and get grounded. And I do believe that this is like part of a little 3 or 4 song bit on the album that explores the same kind of sentiment, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's just contextualizing that part, the beginnings of this thing. I get this track a 4.25. Sonically, it's not my favorite. Like, don't get me wrong. The Musiq Souldchild is pretty great and all of that, but we're in that more singy. It's not my cup of tea as like a go-to sound. But it's really well made, and I really admire and respect what this track is, because conceptually and the poetry and the lyrics knock it right out the fucking park.
Yep. I mean, this is like a song that she clearly has written, or I think she mentions it like for her like boo. So it's for the person that she's with, but like I think that, you know, it isn't perfect, that there are arguments and that there's, you know, maybe some pressure about marriage and stuff, and that other people around her are getting married, and, you know, it's very like up and down roller coaster is what it is. And, you know, I think that that's normal life. So for me, I gave it a 4 on 5. I think that it's like a good song.
Nice. I gave it a 4.5 on 5. This is a really a great song in terms of understanding that certain times in a relationship you need to take a moment, and the way that she brings to the way that she acknowledges that her boyfriend, husband, boo, whatever you want to call him, is
that she does mention is the space between friendship and relationship.
Yeah, but she calls him her boo, so I don't know.
I feel like as the song progresses,
Partner.
the relationship becomes more real. time passes and it doesn't go anywhere, you know?
Fair. But I guess what I took away from it is more or less just like sometimes you need to take that second to realize where you're at before things really do get out of hand. And what I was trying to say about her acknowledging that he doesn't want to trip out is because, I mean, when somebody, guy or girl, asks for space, there's so many things that a person's going to run through, like why you want space, what's going on, all these fears. And I like how she's acknowledging it, like, look, I honestly just need space. Like, that's what I need, and I need you to understand that I'm not
For
trying
herself.
to... Yeah, like, she's not trying to cheat or nothing. She just needs to get her head space cleared, so...
I think it was
really
more
awesome.
saying, even about not the cheating, but more, it's not that I don't love you, I'm not trying to leave you or anything. I understand you're going to feel like that, but it's really because I need to have some space for myself.
Okay.
Anyway, next up is You Used to Love Me. Now this relationship's clearly done. We have Terrace,
They both have a broken heart.
and it's Terrace Martin.
Yeah, I wrote down Terrence, and then I was
I
like,
know, I
nope,
just
and
want-
I had to like scratch it out.
Anyway, and he has that kind of echoey voice, and he's kind of setting this ambiance, and you're building up, and it goes for like a little bit. Like this song's kind of short. It's more of like in and of itself a skit. And then she comes in about halfway through and does this little rap verse thing, and she goes, the hardest thing to do is to break your heart. Yeah, you broke mine, and I forgave that part. It's like I woke up one day and I ain't love you no more. Now everything you do gets on my nerves a little bit more. And I know that feeling. I had that happen to me at least once in my life.
But she's not mad at him. Like, she just doesn't love him anymore, and that's just what he's trying. Like, she's just trying to say that,
Like-
and I think that like that's what's
And it's
happening.
like you can just picture when he gives her that smile that once was so cute, or it's just like, oh fuck, it's so annoying now, and well, you don't like it anymore, and she's kind of like saying, you know what, no I don't. And so this whole song, it's like this acceptance that this relationship is now done, over with, boom. She's doing the hard thing. She got to end it. It's fucking sweet. It's short. It does its thing. And then it has like this kind of like walking to like a knock on the door, etc.
and then that just goes into the next song right away.
So anyway, it's a 4.5 on 5 for me. Pretty cool little skit thing. Sonically nice, enjoyable.
4 on 5. I thought it was cool. It was a nice little wrap up to the last track after the very Rollercoaster love song. And now Rapsody's finally gotten to the point where she's like, look, before I lose my insanity, I need to leave.
Yep.
So
Same thing. I gave it a 4 on 5. Just I thought it was good. I thought it, flowed into the next song really well. It does like sum up like a good message about like, where she's at, that she's kind of single, she's on her own, and then we go into the next song.
Which is
Knock on
conveniently
my
called
Come on, knock on my door.
Come on, knock on my door.
You gotta give me strength,
So I think this song is all about her neighbor. So she runs into her neighbor and they're
Yep.
like shooting
And she's
the
like,
shit.
oh, he
so
is
you're
fine.
Like, oh, you're just watching a game. Well, I used to be a big sports fan, and I haven't
not
watched
since Kobe.
And then it really is that. Like the first verse has her
Like it's
being
just like her like flirting
hey,
a bit.
I'm interested in you. Come on. And then she kind of goes a little bit further and further, and then she finally invites like him into her apartment for like the third verse, and then it's kind of like the whole way through you're hearing her half of a conversation she's having with this guy.
And she doesn't want to sin. She doesn't want to like do anything that's bad.
But it almost sounds like at first what's being said is in her head until the third verse where it's actually finally happening. He has come and he's finally knocked on her door. Mm-hmm. And she's made it clear the whole way through. Listen, you knock on that door, you coming in, you getting it. We're grown-ups. We ain't got no curfew. Like, she's like, you get the feeling that since the last guy, she's a little worked up. She's found something that she really, really wants. And she's doing everything she can to get him, and then she gets him, and he comes in, and it's cute, just like the whole flirty. Like it's like, what I like about the way she approaches a subject like that is where a lot of the guys who idolize themselves may create this grandiose, glorified situation. I could have sworn I've been on this date. Like I could have sworn I had that conversation, had this moment play out. Like it's so fucking realistic. Like, this is almost like the script to an excellent fucking movie or a television show. For
Well,
how
like just
well
like the
it gets
way
played
that they
out.
play back and forth, and she wants to play with him.
Mm-hmm.
She wants him to come over and like have that like play date or whatever, and like I think that like she's saying that she's lonely, and then there's like a back and forth, and then there's like she's like, oh, like she's kind of like, well, what should I do? Like, should I be with him? Should I be sinful? Should I have these like dirty thoughts? And I think that like
Yeah, like she wants. It's just the kind of thing I would imagine going through a girl's head if I was in that moment. Like it's pretty fucking cool.
I like the lyric, apple bottom looking for a snake. And I thought that was like an interesting image because,
Yeah.
it's like her butt and then a snake. But it's also
It's
to
also
do...
the Garden of Eden.
Exactly, the Garden of Eden. She doesn't want to be sinful. And another thing is that she offers him soda or tea or water from the faucet. So I don't know if she maybe just doesn't drink. If like maybe like that's a thing. If she is like a a godly woman, if she doesn't,
Or like she just doesn't have alcohol.
or she doesn't
on
have
hand in her-
alcohol, or that like she wants to do this with a clear mind, and that she's feeling lonely, but she doesn't need to get drunk. I don't know. I just thought that was like a little note.
No, it was a very good lyric. This song's great. It's a 4.5 on 5. BJ is back, and BJ for the Chicago kid does his little part, comes in. I dig this track. I dig the vibe, and
Nice.
I think it's almost like it gives us a pretty good sense of finality on her like situation. Like we got this little trilogy of songs that just kind of told a little story about her love life and where it's at right now, which is I think is an excellent thing. And then at this point when I realized what the Busta Rhymes part was about, and it was cool. It was like this album's kind of gone in a whole different direction, playing into the subjects that her grandmother would have given her wisdom regarding,
Yeah.
Nice.
I give this one a 4.5 on 5. I liked it. It felt very real, very sexy, like that she's she's trying to be like sexy or whatever, and that it's sort of like her mind, it's sort of like the conscience that's going on between what she should do and then like what she shouldn't do, but she just wants to do it anyways. And I just thought it was nice that and she admits that she's lonely and that she needs someone, and I think that that's like not always an easy thing to admit to. So I thought that was an interesting thing.
Nice. I gave this song a 4.5 on 5. It's a great song. I guess it's honest. I guess it's real. And I only say that because I've never experienced it. If you want to talk about flirting, fine. If you want to talk about chit-chatting or hinting, I'm somewhat oblivious sometimes. But the reason why I don't completely grasp this is because
Not in your 30s.
I'm not in my 30s, and when I did move out, I had a very beautiful girlfriend that I'm still with. So I won't have that girl knocking at my door going, hey, just knock on my door.
You just might be in an earlier part of the album.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I'm at. But
But
I don't
so
not
just
think
to
that this stuff
counter
does
it,
happen.
I think that part of it is that as you get older, the consequences of just frivolously sleeping with someone are greater than when you're 24.
And we've all had neighbors.
And yeah, sometimes your neighbors can in fact be fun. Sometimes. OooWee, OooWee, OooWee.
Make sure you see me when you touch down. I'm still fresh out the bed in my slippers.
All I got from this one, money ain't gonna change her. She keeps it real. She does her thing. God keeps her pure type thing. Anderson, Paak goes ooh a lot. They work
lot
it
of
into the
ooh-wee.
verse. I don't hate this track at all. It's got a great vibe to it. Feels really good. But lyrically left me a little wanting for more. I feel like most tracks on this album gave me a lot more to work with in terms of like enjoyment listening to it. This may actually be my least favorite track on the album.
Okay.
Its structure's cool. It's different, but
It's sort of like, what is it about? I mean, besides the fact that she's like just trying to figure out like who she is and what she needs, and like they both talk about like them being talented and that they're both good. And then, I don't know.
I feel like
they're fly, but they need to stay on the ground. I feel like that was another lyric.
But like I feel like she proved all of what she said already, and in this song, she doesn't necessarily back it up with the same level of awesomeness that we saw previously.
Yeah.
And that was a little bit harder for me to get into. Look, this song, the beat's great. They're both extremely talented performers. I don't have any real problem with it, except it was a little boring to me as in terms of its subject matter. But it was sonically better. So I've had other songs where the subject matter was great, but the beat wasn't as good. This is the opposite. I thought the beat was stellar and the production was worked. Whatever. So I give it a 4.
Cool. I also gave this one a 4. Same thing. I thought it was good, but there wasn't much to it that like was new or different or anything. That they're both kind of flossing in this one, I guess. And yeah, it's good. I like the beat. It is a good beat. So I'm giving it 4 on 5.
I gave it a 3. It's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's just I've heard better songs. For me, like they've said, it's just I'm good. I'm a rapper. I'm king shit. I'm flossing. This is what I can do. But I've heard better flossing songs, preference wise or even personally. So 3 out of 5.
All right.
Let's
Jesus is coming.
Yeah, that one.
Shit is coming, it's real, mama. And none of that is cool, but it's her decision to
The song is fucking insanity in terms of the subject matter. So you got 3 verses of 3 isolated stories, right? I like really.
But it's not like her own story. She's just like talking about like, what she's seen.
And it just starts off with pop, 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 and like that kind of shit. And then it goes into like the first verse, which something on the Genius said it was about her death, and it could be. I think it's kind of like the peer pressure she's had to face and how people are going to remember her when she has died. And it kind of gives you just a sense of this person's almost like a party, and they're being pressured into sex or drugs or something. Like they don't.
But I mean, she is also like a tomboy, right? So maybe she does hang out with like troublesome boys.
But in general, I think that her first verse was almost like, "I'm sorry, mom, but peer pressure's coming." Like it's kind of like it gave that kind of sense. Like it was really like it got me thinking. But then there was that second verse that just you were thinking, and then you just started feeling, because you got this mom and bringing her daughter to the park, and then she gets the sense that something's going to get kind of messed up because she sees some dudes starting to argue off in the distance. So you can hear her calling to her little girl, "Come on, let's go, let's get out of here." And then all of a sudden they're both just laying on the ground because they've been clipped as innocent bystanders in this gang-related fucking
crossfire
violence. And then it flips into the little girl describing her perception of what has just transpired in this situation. And the whole way through, like, the sample keeps playing in it. And
time to go. And it's like, it's time to go up to, like, heaven. Or it's like a mother calling, like, oh, it's time to go. You know, like.
And it's just, it's fucking, it happens. And you know what happens. Maybe this wasn't, like, and she said, this is not something that I know personally. Mm-hmm. But again, you know, like, it's not a far stretch from probably somebody's exact story.
Yeah.
And then the third verse, how do you get you into feels again? Well, she does. She just does it again by going on about the soldier who's questioning shit like how, you know, that guy over there he's trying to kill. He has a God. He has a family. He has all this. And then that line reads like, I didn't come here to get a Purple Heart. And then, you know, he does. You know, he gets taken out and his family. And he's just like, again, another story.
Like every family is just trying to do what's best for them, and like that's what they're saying.
On all sides of the fence. So that guy, your enemy, that person you're going against, is just another reflection of you almost. And it's just one of those. She was clearly thinking about a bunch of shit, but she conveys it with like that same empathy and compassion that she brings in. Something Chris said earlier about the guy perspective and the girl perspective on that like song from back in the day or whatever, Ridin. And it really shows this whole album, like, it's almost like the woman perspective of something like a Nazomatic or something like that, where it approaches a lot of these subjects from this, like, female perspective, where I've not heard prevalently a lot of this level of wisdom and strength and power like this. It's so good.
I got a lot of that.
Clear 5 for this track.
Okay.
Big 5. Big 5.
So I gave it a 4.5 just because I got, and I'm sorry, but I got confused. It's a great song. The stories are powerful. The emotions are powerful. But I think that for me it was a little bit overwhelming just in terms of, I want to say decrypting every story.
Yeah, it was a little bit to wrap your head around.
Going through that. But I like the time to go repeatedly. That was really, really touching because it's like you never know when your time to go is, but sometimes we do because we're told that it's our time to go. And it's like it's like a weird concept that I kind of started thinking of, and how like ironies and stuff like that. Anyway, but on top of all that, the song itself is an adventure on its own. It's a 6-minute adventure on its own. So 4.5 on 5.
Cool. I mean, I think that she's just like overall just trying to say like how precious life is, and that that she talks about how difficult and how there's gangs happening, and then it's real life, and then these people are just getting killed, and I think she's just trying to like get to like the realization that everybody's fighting for something, and it's like you're gonna have like these losses in your life, and it's gonna suck. So I'm guessing maybe something happened to her, or if she doesn't, if she's drawing on other people's stories, it's like it must be relevant to her, and maybe she's just keeping her life private. But I gave this a 4.5.
Like the way she described it was like this was just stuff she had on her mind. She had to like get it out. Like it was just stuff she'd noticed, and it was a little bit of stretching her imagination to like picture these feelings. Anyway. So, but I'm not to say that she doesn't have relatable
but like
stories.
I guess it's a they're having to deal with like the faith of it, and like Jesus is coming, and he's taking them away. He's
Well, I like, and thank you for bringing that up. I like how she replaces the Grim Reaper with Jesus in terms of a positive stance. A lot of the times when at least maybe me, when I hear these type of songs, I always get this dark, negative feeling, Grim Reaper taking life. But I like how she
like believes in God from the jump, right?
No, of course. But I just like how she, instead of have...
So based on that, like it's going to be that she sees death almost as a blessing. Because when you do have God as your focus, you wouldn't...
And it's almost innocent the way it is time to go. It's not like that, like, scary sounding.
When you have that devotion to God, death is not the same thing as a scary Grim Reaper, is where I was going with it. Okay. So that makes total sense to her, like, tone on
But for somebody like me who doesn't understand or is not involved in religion that much, I find it very cool how, like, you can look at death a different way in terms of Jesus coming to get you.
So what I'm hearing is maybe Chris needs some God in his life.
Yes.
We've turned into the evangelical portion of this. See, with Jesus inside of your soul, you'll be able to...
Okay, all right. Let's get to the... All right, wrap it up. What did you give it?
I'm not even saying that like I believe in God and shit. On the legit.
You have the Jesus National Geographic over there.
So yeah, what'd you give this song?
I give this song a 4.5.
Okay,
Going to
cool.
red heaven.
I gave this album a 4.45 on 5. I think it is truly divine. It might be I like this better than I like the Lauryn Hill album because it's less singy. It's more rappy. It's totally more about my thing. But this is crazy. Somebody did mention to like request it. I can't remember who did, but whoever one of you are, I guarantee you watched this far. So thank you. You can comment and be like, that was me. I'm sure you will, even like way before this moment. So
and that'll get you into the contest, remember?
Yeah, which there is that contest that will pump. Anyway, album's sick. I see why I got the Grammy nom. I hope it kills Jay-Z and Kendrick, and I hope she wins. That's what I'm trying to say. This was delightful.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know that she's going to, but we'll see. We'll see.
Well, what'd you give the album?
I gave it a 4.10. So it's an 82%. So
4.1.
Yeah, I mean it squeaked on by into the classic rating, but I think that I think it's consistent and I think it's good, but I don't know if it's like a winning album. Like there's some interesting tracks, and I think that her voice is she is like a bit of a gruff. Could I say gruff? Is that rough? Whatever, like kind of voice, but it's still like a good voice. It's not too over the top, and I think that her message is good, and I think that she's pure, and I think that she's honest. So as long as she sticks with that, then I think that she'll do great things. But I think that this is
it's just the beginning.
It's not a winning album yet.
Honestly, I think it might be a winning album. I hope it does, and for me personally, it's just because Kendrick and Jay-Z do have already a pretty set fan base, a pretty set numbers.
But you gotta consider the Migos.
them too, but I'm really hoping that in terms of music-wise and in terms of what is being brought to the table, Damn was great, 444 was great, Culture was great.
I like this one better.
But I still kind of like this one better in terms of a different perspective in hip-hop, a different perspective in terms of female, the different aspects and all of what she sees. It's a more enlightening album for me, personally.
All right. Okay.
And I gave this a 4.3 on 5.
Dope. Thank you all for watching, all of you, even the ones who don't like us.
I know y'all like us.
Keep
I know
in
y'all
mind
like
that
us.
there's a contest, as I say, subscribe to the channel if you like it and like the video and leave us a comment describing the video or the album, what you thought was dope. You get a chance to win some Amazon money and a request. And all the information's below. So for those of you who do just click to the end to check that out, we are doing a contest. Feel free to hit that up. And for every video you like and comment on, again, you'll get an extra chance to win. But really, thank you. We want to hear what you have to say. We like to learn. We want to hear more music. We want to do all this. Super excited for Revival. I know I am. I hope you are.
Woo-hoo!
Let us know if you were duped by his campaign so far. Check out anything that's appeared on the screen here. I don't know. I'm fucking rambling now.
All right, time for us to leave.
If you tweet
But-
Christopher, he'll read your tweet. So
I'm
far,
reading
no one's
tweets,
tweeted him.
and I will
It's
shout
been
out
like
the
2
tweets.
weeks. Nobody's tweeted him.
I'm
Please.
trying, guys.
Lindell, please tweet
Yeah,
him.
Lindell, come on, Lindell. At least just
Anyway, bye.